Senator Patty Murray exposes Pete Hegseth's shocking political purge inside the Pentagon, revealing how loyalty replaced competence, jeopardizing national security and raising urgent questions about military leadership and accountability.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Hegseth, you oversee one of the largest and most important organizations on planet Earth. More than anything, the Department of Defense needs stable, competent, and strategic leadership. And much as I had feared back in January, it is not what we are seeing under your leadership. In a matter of months, you have lost top aides and reportedly struggled to hire new ones. You have fired highly respected top military officials. You shared highly sensitive attack plans over Signal and apparently with people in your own personal circles, and you've not taken responsibility for those mistakes. All the while, the security challenges we face have grown larger, not smaller. And then in the face of these challenges, you have taken a series of actions that weaken our posture. For example, in my home state of Washington, which is home to many DoD installations critical to our Indo-Pacific strategy, you have pushed out almost 2,000 highly trained civilian employees, including at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. Mr. Secretary, you talk about returning the department to its mission of warfighting, but I am repeatedly hearing that your policy and personnel changes at the Pentagon are only undermining, not strengthening our military's preparedness to protect our country. You are deploying the American military to police the American people. You're sending the National Guard into California without the governor's request. Sending the Marines not after foreign threats, but after American protesters. And now President Trump is promising heavy force against peaceful protesters at his D.C. military parade. Those sorts of actions and that sort of rhetoric from a president of the United States should stop every one of us cold. Threatening to use our own troops on our own citizens at such scale is unprecedented, it is unconstitutional, and it is downright un-American. We should all be speaking out against this and demanding accountability. Now, Mr. Secretary, I have to say, for people who tout their commitment to transparency and efficiency, I've never seen an administration more bent on hiding basic facts from American people. Your department has been unresponsive to congressional inquiries and oversight requests, all the while you are working to muzzle the free press, denying journalists access to the Pentagon press corps. Now, before I turn to my questions, let me just note, it is now mid-June, and we only, just a few days ago, received some, but not all, important portions of your budget request. It should not have taken this long to get this request, and we do still need to see the justifications in order for this committee to do its work. We're missing those. Not having a full budget at this juncture is really unacceptable. So I am deeply concerned. So let me turn to my questions, and this is important. This administration has put the civilian workforce under attack from day one, encouraging resignations, firing probationary employees, instituting hiring freeze, requiring OPM to approve any new hire one by one, and now, new last week, requiring prospective employees to explain how they would, quote, help support the president's executive orders and policy priorities. We have spoken with military installations across our country. Almost all of them have been forced to fire skilled civilian employees who are badly needed. And all of them also have hundreds, and in some cases thousands, of new hires ready to bring on board, but now have to individually be reviewed by OPM, apparently to ensure that they support the president's priorities. Secretary Hegseth, I want to know, and keep your answer short, I have limited time, will you be firing more shipbuilders, yes or no?
Senator, we haven't fired shipbuilders. We've offered through a right sizing of our civilian positions, which everyone in this committee would acknowledge that the Defense Department has had a bloated bureaucracy for a long time, have given a voluntary process by which some people can choose to take a DRP.
I'm just asking you
so it's not a firing of shipbuilders. That's a totally disingenuous characterization of what our department is doing. We are focusing on shipbuilding.
Mr. Secretary, do we need more or fewer shipbuilders?
We are investing historically in our shipbuilding defense industrial base and workforce and ships in this budget, more than anything the previous administration ever did.
So, well, you managed to fire highly skilled workers, including my home state of Washington, for no reason. So let me just say, the Navy needs welders, not people who can recite a president's executive orders. If the Navy wants to hire a qualified candidate for the role, but that candidate happened to vote for or donate to Democrats, would they be hired?
Senator, there's never been a litmus test for hiring welders.
Well,
if you can weld, you can work at the Defense Department.
That is what they are being asked. And Mr. Secretary, I just have to say, we need to drop the politics in our military. We need to hire the best people. We do not need to force them out. That is simply the case at this point. Now I'm out of time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
A dramatic congressional hearing that sent shockwaves through Capitol Hill. Senator Patty Murray took the spotlight to expose Pete Hegseth's politically motivated purge inside the Pentagon, revealing a troubling pattern of favoritism and mismanagement that has far-reaching implications for the U.S. military and national security. Murray's pointed questioning highlighted how Hegseth, known primarily for his media presence rather than military administration expertise, used his position to prioritize political loyalty over competence, systematically removing experienced personnel from key defense roles while promoting individuals aligned with his personal and political agenda. Witnesses testified that morale within the Pentagon has plummeted as career professionals, some with decades of experience in logistics, operations, and defense strategy, were ousted or sidelined, leaving critical positions filled by less qualified individuals whose main credential appeared to be allegiance to Hegseth's ideological vision rather than their ability to protect the nation. Senator Murray's line of questioning left no room for evasion, as she meticulously connected the dots between Hegseth's personnel decisions and the potential risk to military readiness, pointing out that these purges coincide with a period where strategic threats from near-peer adversaries like China and Russia to emerging cyber and technological vulnerabilities require highly experienced and capable leadership. The hearing also drew attention to internal Pentagon communications obtained by congressional investigators, which suggest that Hegseth's team deliberately targeted officers who were seen as neutral or critical of political influence, framing the removal process under vague performance metrics that lacked transparency or accountability. Murray emphasized that the consequences of these politically motivated actions are not theoretical. Defense analysts warned that undermining institutional expertise in the Pentagon could delay critical decision-making, compromise operational planning, and erode trust both domestically and among international allies who rely on the U.S. military's consistent professionalism and expertise. She called out specific instances where highly decorated officers were reassigned or pressured to resign, noting that these actions were often justified with flimsy explanations, leaving staff bewildered and concerned about the integrity of the chain of command. As the hearing progressed, Murray did not shy away from framing the issue as a broader ethical and democratic concern. She argued that the politicization of military appointments undermines the principle of civilian oversight while simultaneously allowing partisan considerations to dictate national security priorities. In her closing statement, Murray warned that unless Congress takes decisive action to investigate and prevent further political interference, the Pentagon risks becoming a battlefield for ideology rather than a strategic institution committed to protecting the nation. And she urged immediate reforms to restore merit-based appointments, safeguard whistleblower protections, and ensure that senior defense leadership remains accountable to the Constitution rather than to political operatives. The hearing was not just a spectacle of rhetoric. It was a methodical unveiling of a systemic issue that critics say reflects a growing trend across multiple federal agencies where political loyalty supersedes professional qualifications, and Murray's relentless pursuit of transparency set the tone for what many observers are calling a necessary reckoning within the Department of Defense. Political analysts and military experts alike are now scrutinizing Hegseth's tenure, questioning whether such politically motivated purges could have long-term repercussions on U.S. military effectiveness and strategic posture, particularly at a time when the global security landscape is increasingly volatile. Media coverage following the hearing amplified Murray's concerns, with pundits highlighting how her exposure of the purge sheds light on an uncomfortable reality. The integrity of key institutions may be compromised when political ambitions override professional expertise. Social media reactions reflected a mix of outrage and support, with citizens and defense insiders praising Murray's courage for confronting the issue head-on, arguing that shining a light on internal Pentagon politics is crucial to preserving national security and democratic governance. Meanwhile, Hegseth's office attempted to downplay the allegations, framing the actions as routine personnel adjustments and denying any politically motivated intent. However, the detailed documentation and testimony presented during the hearing, including accounts from senior military officials and career staff, paint a starkly different picture, one in which loyalty to Hegseth's ideological goals appeared to outweigh competence and experience.